Hello again, artists. In this video, I'm going to be finishing up the shading demonstration for our post drawing of the forms. And in this one, I'm going to be doing scumbling for the cube and blending for the sphere. So with the cube, this is a great example, what you can see right here. My light source is coming from the window in the classroom. And so you can see it's hitting the top of this very strongly. And then we have, we have the lightest value, and then a medium value, and the darker value. So with a cube, you're looking at 3 different surfaces, 2 sides, and a top. And in this case, we're gonna do light, medium, and dark. So I'm just gonna start scumbling really lightly on the top. Medium on this side. Remember, scumbling goes every direction. You can look back at your example or my example in the video from last week or in your sketchbook. And I'm kind of cleaning up any lines that aren't matching up, or lines that look too dark. Like if this is going to be really light, I might want to lighten these lines a little bit. And then for my darker one, I'm going to start with 1 layer, pressing a lot harder for this one. But I'm also going to be adding layers to create the darkest value. And in this case, it is important to kind of color within the lines here, because if you have, as soon as you get dark value going off of this section, it's gonna basically ruin the appearance of the light source and of the form. So this light source is coming basically from straight above. All right, so here I have light, medium, and dark. You can decide where you want your light and medium and dark to be. If this was lightest, for example, it just means that the light source is coming from the front of it, and that's okay too. All right, so my shadow would be kind of going sort of like this way, and I'll just scumble in a darker shadow here. Gotta love scumbling. Super fun, very freeing. I just think it's super fun. And if you're starting to lose the darker side here, you can go in and make this side even darker. Try to make sure you always have a little bit of a difference in your values. So my shadow might be a little bit lighter than my darkest side, or the opposite of that. My shadow might be a lot darker than the darkest side. All right, so for the last one, we are going to do blending. And remember, you can do this in whatever order you want. You don't have to follow exactly what I'm doing. These are just some that I thought would be good for this demonstration. So you could do cross-hatching here and blending here, however you want to do it. It's totally fine. All right, so I think I'm going to have my light source kind of coming from this way, like kind of from sort of where I'm standing. So I'm going to have a highlight, like this is going to be kind of the lightest area right in here. So it's going to be darker as it curves away from me. It's a little bit hard to see on this one, but you can see there's a highlight here. The light is coming from this direction. It gets darker down here, and then there's actually a lighter part right around the outer edge. That's called a reflected light. So it's kind of bouncing off of this page here, and you can see its shadow getting darker over here, but then there's a lighter part. That's kind of an important feature of the sphere. So I want it to be really dark around the far edge here. And because I know I'm gonna be blending this, so it doesn't have to be, I can kind of scumble in here, and it doesn't have to be perfect. Kind of using the side of my pencil and just sort of blending it, not blending it right now, but just sort of blocking in like where I want the darkest sections to be. And then we'll have some medium. We're gonna have the lightest part be like right here. So all of this can be medium. I'm not going right to the edge down here because I want to leave room for that kind of reflected light down there, because my shadow is going to be going this way, maybe onto this wall. All right, so let's see if that was enough. Remember, we talked about 3 different ways to do blending. You can use your finger, you can use a Q-tip or tissue or Kleenex, or you can use a blending stump. And remember, there are some negative side effects to using your finger on your paper, including A, it doesn't work as well, and B, it can degrade the quality of your paper over time. So I'm using a Kleenex here. If you want to try a blending stump, feel free to stop by the art room and I can give one to you. So I'm starting from the darkest values and blending it into the lighter areas. I might go in and darken up this area again because I lost some of that really crisp, dark area. So I'm just kind of using a little bit of scumbling, kind of like a fast version of the oval technique here as well. All right, need to blend out some of these. And notice when I'm blending, I'm following the shape of this sphere here. So I'm actually kind of like with cross hatching, I'm following the contours of that shape. All right, and now I'm just gonna finish this up with a shadow here. It's gonna be running into this corner, so I'm not quite sure what it would look like, but we'll say it'll be a little bit lighter back here because it's further away. We'll say it's kind of like that. And then darker right here where it's right next to that. Leaving a little space there for that reflected light. Lighter tone, and then we'll blend this out as well. And you can also combine styles too. Like you could do the shadow in a crosshatch and the form in blending. Now I've smeared some of my value around, so I'm going to go in and just lighten up some areas where maybe I didn't want as much. Like I've gotten some shading over here where it shouldn't have any. All right, so there you have it. 4 different forms with 4 different ways of shading. Let me know if you have any questions.